my name is Sylvia Wanjiru. I'm a talent acquisition coordinator. I've been practicing this career for the past 5 years now. And yeah, welcome to Meet the HR.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very well, and it's a pleasure to have you and understand your career. Most of the time we hear such names and you're like, I'd like to know what it involves. So as we start, what does a talent acquisition coordinator, what is it all about?
Thank you so much, Neil. Karibuni sana.
Asante.
So talent acquisition, like, it deals with the strategies and tactics and processes for identifying, recruitment, retaining HR, and like what the company needs.
Yes.
So this may include like developing, implementing, and evaluating programs for sourcing and recruiting. Then the hiring bit and the orientation bit.
Okay. And what makes you different? We've heard of a recruiter, we've heard of the common human resource, and now you as a talent acquisition coordinator.
So I'll just tell you what's the difference between like talent acquisition and HR, because so many people like confuse that bit.
Yes.
So talent acquisition monitors like the pre-onboarding process of like the human resource. So and then the human resource now will do like the after onboarding bit of it, whereby they like when the person comes into the company, now the human resource, they take over from there. Like it's called a post onboarding process.
Okay.
Whereby now they get into the company, you deal with the ER relations, sorry, that's employee relations.
True. Thank you for emphasizing that.
Yeah, disciplinary, payroll, and all that. So for the talent acquisition, basically it's just the pre-onboarding phase.
Okay.
Before the human resource comes into the company. The difference now comes in, so for talent acquisition, we'll do the sourcing, we'll do the interview, the hiring strategy and all that.
Yes.
And then when the person comes into the company, we'll hand them over to the human resource, now where they get into the business.
Okay.
A recruit, on this other hand, is the person who does now like the sourcing, interviewing, that candidate relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you part of the hiring team?
Yes, I am, because before we even like roll out a job description or advertise a certain role, there are some processes that happen at the back.
Okay.
So you'll have a conversation with the hiring manager, whether it's in-house, if it's in an agency, like with a client, just to discuss what they're looking for in this particular hire, the hiring need for this within the business.
Yes.
Like what are they looking for? What are the competencies the person is supposed to have? The skills, the qualifications, and all that. Yeah, like it's a whole process that happens before like you see the job has been advertised.
Okay. And now, a CV and a cover letter, are those two documents enough to tell you, well, this is a good candidate?
So how we do our shortlisting is we look at the job description and we look at your CV. So we are looking for someone who has like 2 or 3 years of experience in this particular role.
Okay.
Does your CV have that? Like, do you have experience in that? Other things like we look at is how you interview in the process, like how confident are you, like the soft skills, that you are culture fit for this particular role. It's not just a CV, because yes, a CV can be good, but you are not really a good culture fit for that particular organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about the culture fit part. I've had it a couple of times.
So each organization has its own culture.
Okay.
So for how we measure that is within the panel, we will introduce like one of the people that will interview will be now your supervisor or the hiring manager.
Okay.
And then there are certain situational questions they're going to ask you, and then how you answer them gauges now if you'll be a good fit for the company.
And if you can't know if someone is pretending,
you can know in the sense that, because this is something that you do most of the time, like it's a skill that you have learned and grown like over the years, so you're able to identify if someone is lying, or like there's something to just your gut feeling, because it's something you've been practicing for long. You've met so many people, So sometimes even know like, okay, yeah.
Okay.
And recruitment is a very small world. Like candidates are, yeah.
All right. You have two candidates, candidate A and candidate B.
Yeah.
And both of them, they seem to have almost the same qualifications. And even their cover letter, you can feel both of them are good.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate between the two?
How we differentiate that is now we look at the soft skills bit and also now the culture fit, that's where it comes in.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can be good at the work that you do, but you won't really fit within that culture, and like they go hand in hand.
All right.
Yeah.
And being in such an industry for the last 5 years, you've really gone through the hills and the mountains.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know, what has your journey been?
So I did not start off as a talent acquisition coordinator. So my journey started, I started off as an admin assistant.
Okay.
So immediately after high school, I joined KIM, Kenya Institute of Management, to do a diploma in public relations.
Okay.
Then I got a chance to work at a marketing firm as an admin assistant for almost 4 years, because I was schooling and then going to work.
Yes.
And then I took a break. To go back to school now to do my degree. While I was doing my degree, I got a chance to do an internship at a recruitment firm.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's where my journey started. So I did internship for like 6 months in that recruitment agency, and I could see like how they were doing the recruitment, how they were doing the interviews, and then I grew an interest, like that passion grew in me slowly by slowly.
Yeah.
So I would sometimes join in the interviews, and I'm calling the candidates to schedule the interviews for them to come in. Like it was such an amazing process. So that's how I now started getting an interest in that career.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did it involve, over time, you might need a few trainings. So did you go back and have a certain training for the skills?
So for talent acquisition, it doesn't have like a certification for it.
Oh.
I'll say quote unquote, it's still new because it's not like HR, like you'll go and do a degree in HR.
Yes.
Talent, it's pretty new. So how like you learn is you learn on the job. So like for me, I was shadowing one of the recruiters.
Okay.
And then, but there are certain online trainings that you can go into. Like you can utilize the LinkedIn courses, how to interview better, or to look at for in a candidate. If you want to become like a technical recruiter, there are certain trainings online that you can have a look. Yeah.
All right.
Some are free, some you'll have to pay a certain amount for that, but yeah.
Okay. And do you have like a group of recruiters that you share skills, or you work alone? The others just join us, but let's keep going individually.
That's interesting because like we have a network of recruiters, like we know each other. So for example, if I have a role that I'm recruiting for, I'll reach out to my fellow recruiter or even my colleagues like, hey, we're hiring for sit in this role, like do you have a referral, can you recommend someone to apply for this role? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And can one freelance, or they need to get employed?
You can freelance, you can become a consultant. I have friends who are doing consultancy, like they recruit on behalf of, now they'll go looking for clients and then they recruit on behalf of them.
Yes.
You can actually do, you don't need to be employed.
Yes.
Employment can mean like you work in an agency and then probably an in-house talent team, and then now the consultancy bit. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And for talent acquisition, things have gone very digital. So what are some of the platforms that you use to get the various talents?
So in the past we used to do face-to-face interview, like now how we are, but post-COVID, things have become a bit digital. So nowadays most of our interviews happen Zoom online, via Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, depending in what platform you want to use. Also, what else has changed? In the past, like people used to bring their hard copy CVs, but nowadays you apply online. Like we have so many different ATS, that's applicant tracking system, whereby when you bring in your application or when you submit your application, like it has a process where it goes through your CV to see if it matches what you're looking for.
All right.
Yeah.
Take me through. You've been given a brief. You've been told we're looking for so and so. By the time you hand them over to the recruiter, what goes on there?
So we have already come up with a job description. We have advertised it online. So our part now is sourcing, shortlisting, like going through the CVs to see if that person matches what you're looking for, if they match what the JD is looking for, and then we'll have the first round of interview with you, and then if you pass our interview, we'll put you forward now to meet the hiring manager, who will now eventually become your supervisor. So if you pass that interview, now you're given an offer, and yeah, you come into the company and we onboard you.
And now you're ready to start.
Yes.
Writing the letter that says, sorry, we won't be able to move forward with your CV. How do you feel about it?
It's not a good feeling, especially if that candidate was good and probably the only difference that came in, or right, they were not shortlisted, or something very minor. Like let's say they were not a culture fit, or maybe we are looking for someone who has 3 years of experience and you have like 1 or 2. It's not easy, but what we usually do is like we keep a mental note, like we remember we had this good profile. So in the near future, if a role comes up that matches your profile, definitely we shall be in touch.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long does the recruiting process go for?
From the time like we advertise now till the end.
Yes.
It depends with the role again. So for the technical roles or these senior roles, it takes time. For the senior role, it will take time because most senior roles, like they require a big notice period. Like you'll say someone requires like 2 months notice, 3 months. Like I'm talking about like a director, CEOs and all that.
Yeah.
But for the junior roles, ideally like a month, 3 weeks, depending also on how urgent that role is and the notice period for that candidate.
Okay. Yeah. Talent acquisition coordinator, for example, in a cement company, there are certain terms or there are certain things that you'll notice in their CV. Do you have to be well knowledgeable and understand core ground what really happened so that it can match the description and also the CV?
So the good thing with that is you always have a conversation with now the hiring manager, like the person who wants that person, so that you get to know like a better understanding of what exactly they're looking for. So if it's that like the cement company, like they'll tell us the ins and outs. So I remember in the agency, like we used to go and visit the client just to see how they did the operations, how the work environment was, so that even when you're interviewing, you'll be able to gauge like, will this person fit here? Like I saw ABCD in this organization, and you're doing like a tour on that organization, like will they be able to fit there?
And is it always necessary to hire or to start looking for a new talent, or you can use the one within and just pandisha madaraka?
It's always good like to pandisha madaraka, as you said, because like it will save us time in terms of like that person is already in the company, so they already know like the culture, the operations, how, so it's so easy and faster to even take someone like and then remember you also like upskilling them, like they're growing in their career, they have a better understanding of the organization. So we always advise for that. But what happens is maybe what you're looking for, the role that you're recruiting for is a bit technical or is something that has not been there before, and that person doesn't have these certain qualifications. And that's now we'll go and source from outside.
Okay. Yeah. Do you take them through the same hiring process?
Oh yes, like it's free, fair, like we don't do any bias. So if like we have a role and we are considering internal applicants, like you'll apply like a normal applicant, and then we'll take you through the interview process. If it's 3 rounds, we'll go through the 3 rounds.
And now since it's a colleague, you would feel like this one deserves it more. They've given so much to this company.
Imagine if you match the skill and if you have the skills that you're looking for, the duties, responsibilities, like at the end of the day, the JD is like our Bible. So that is what we match. So if you meet that criteria, we'll take you. But if you lack something, we won't take you because you're our friend. No.
All right. We've seen you apply for a job, especially the ones on, let's say, LinkedIn, and they ask you to do an aptitude test. How necessary is it, and does it really show what the individual is?
The aptitude test helps because when I was working at the agency firm, we used to do this cognitive assessment test for the candidates, like just to measure how attentive they are to details at times, how keen they are, their behavioral, like, so it's a series of certain questions, and then like how you answer them, like you're able to gauge, so sometimes that will give an advantage when it comes to even when you're doing like your scorecards. So this one scored higher in this bit or in this. Sometimes you can even know if someone has a temper based on how like they answer their jobs.
Okay. And most talents, what are some of the errors that is very common across the board?
Grammatical error, like your CV is just all over the place. It's not well written, like different fonts. Like you'll see this is someone who did not take their time to apply for that role, because you'll find sometimes like you just apply jobs for the sake of applying, like, oh, there's a vacancy here, unarusha. You haven't even looked at how your CV looks like, or even what the JD is asking for, because if you just apply for every role that is around there, maybe you are doing admin and then you apply for accounting roles, but most of the errors we see is just like the CV doesn't match the JD, and those now small things like grammatical error, like you haven't really, they're not aligned, and I don't know if it's right to say this, but you're told do not judge a book by its cover, but you give me a CV that has so many grammatical errors and this one is well polished, I'll be more inclined to look at this one first.
The more polished one. People still include marital status and also family. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It's too much information, but it's fine. Like it's okay if you want to include that in your CV. And especially, I know some of the senior roles, it doesn't happen to us before, but I know some organizations prefer someone who's married for these senior roles, because they'll see like they are more organized, like this is a family man, so like they have better judgment and all that, other than having like a director or a CEO who's single. They prefer someone who has a family.
There's a lady who was sharing, she went for an interview, and while giving the CV, the recruiters or the talent acquisition coordinators felt that her moving from one job to another was in a short period. What should be the time limit?
That's a very good question, because you'll find that, so sometimes you might be hopping from this company to the other, like, so what is that making you not to stick in one company? I wouldn't say that there's this particular, like there's a time frame, because maybe you were coming in as a consultant for 3 months, and then your contract ended and then you moved to another organization. But if, let's say, it was like a permanent full-time employment, and then like you stay for this company for 3 months, and maybe you are not confirmed because of 1 or 2 reasons, like we'll have a lot of question marks, and that's now where the background checks come in. Like we'll call the company just to find out, so why did Laura like leave the organization after 3 months, just to see like is it something that like you do, because like you can't just hope all the time,
So at least stay in one place.
Stay in one place, but it doesn't mean like stay in one place if you're not treated right, because sometimes you can leave an organization because you felt it was not a good fit for you.
When I come to you as a candidate, what are you expecting from me? My CV is good, my cover letter is good, but now the interview process.
So how do you present yourself in the interview? Like your soft skills, we'll give you like some situational questions, like we'll gauge how you answer those questions, and like see the way you're having this conversation with you now, because some people are, I don't know if they are shy or they're just a bit rigid, but you'll find someone who is even like shaking, they're not confident in how they're like presenting or how they are talking about their career journey and all that. Yeah.
And how can you make a do you make recommendations first in the first place?
If I see a particular role and I know like a friend is hiring for that, and you know someone, or I came across a CV that I felt was good and could probably go a good fit for them, I will forward their profile to now whoever is recruiting for that position. Yeah.
Kuna kwanga na kuchocha kwa recommendation letter na pia kwenye CV.
Yeah.
Is it okay for you to make that recommendation and not feel a little bit of guilt inside it?
Like at the end of the day, we are professional.
Yeah.
So what matters is like the skills that you have. Yeah, if I know this person is very, very good and will be a good fit for that role, nitachocha kidogo, you know?
Least.
Yeah, nitachocha kidogo. Like I'll add some sugar to salt tapo, you know? Like this person did ABCD, they are good culture fit and all that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day is how you present yourself during the interview. Are you able to wow the panel, you know? Yeah, I can put in a good word for you, and then you'll get to be invited for the interview. But at the end of the day, it lies with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the maintaining part of the job too.
Yes, and the maintaining part of that job.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, do you stay most of the time in the office, or you can work from, because right now we are at home?
Yeah.
How does it work for you?
So we do like a hybrid kind of system. So sometimes we go to the office, sometimes we work remotely from home. But most of our interviews so far have been online.
Yeah.
Especially when COVID hit, because of just maintaining that social distance. I think we just became used to it. Yeah, we still miss that face-to-face interaction with the candidates.
Yes.
But for now, remote has been working just okay. Yeah.
And is it different interviewing someone face-to-face? And when I decide, let's have it on Zoom.
It is different because, so when you're having a Zoom interview, I don't know if someone is looking elsewhere, you know, like if you're Googling or if you're like, because it's funny sometimes, like you'll find someone is wearing like a suit at the top and then you are like, but it's how you present yourself, because we can't really see you full. So like we just go with what we see. And we advise people just to turn on their video, have good internet connectivity, because nowadays like that's becoming a challenge. And if you have bad internet connection, like we didn't get that, like you'll get even bored interviewing that person.
Yes. Yeah. And what are some of the questions not to ask? You're being told, do you have any questions for us?
Well, there's no wrong or right question and answer. Like just if you want to seek further clarification, just ask. Like you can ask about the culture, you can ask like who do you report to, why did you decide to stay here? Like I wouldn't say like there's no question you can't ask. Yeah, we moving from that technical bit of just grilling someone, you know, like we want to like have, you see, when you have like that cool calming environment, you're able to express yourself even more.
Yes. And now what next for you?
Just to continue growing my skills in talent acquisition, because you see this is something that I grew a passion in when I was in the agency. It's not something that I learned, so I'm still learning, and there's still so many. I have a long way to go when it comes to talent acquisition.
Yes.
So for me, it's just continue learning and enhancing my skills with the training that you have online and all that. Yeah.
For someone who would want to venture inside, what would you tell them? Which course should they pursue? Where should they start from?
I would say like start from doing HR, because talent acquisition is more of like we are under. So we have the human resource, like our mother umbrella is HR.
Yes.
Yeah, like you can take a course in human resources and then now do the specific trainings online for talent acquisition. Because even when you do HR, there are certain functions inside, like or certain units. You'll find a unit for talent acquisition, a unit for employee relations, labor laws and all that. At least you have an in-depth and better understanding of HR as a whole. Yeah.
And what are some of the pointers that have helped you stay in this career?
You would need to have like a people skill, because you interact with people on a daily basis, you know. you need to have good communication skills and just that people skills, because you can't be someone who, or you're an introvert and like you don't like interacting with people, so this career won't be a good fit for you, because it's constantly talking to people and just having that bubbly personality to make them feel welcome, you know, even because you meet so many different people who have different experience, who share about their life and all that. That welcoming personality.
What do you enjoy most about your job?
Like changing, when you're changing someone's life and the impact that you have. Like when someone is offered that role, they'll come back to you and say, hey, thank you so much, you know, really helped me. Just making a difference in that someone's life, like that's the job satisfaction bit for me. And just interacting with so many different people from like all over the country, hearing the different stories, hearing the different skills, because you also learn from them. Like some skills you'll hear that, hey, do you know, like you can do A, B, C, D. It's just a learning experience.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
And at least we've been able to touch on your career, understand the do's and the don'ts, especially a little bit of pointers to help us move through the year. And we really appreciate you, and we hope that as you continue your career journey, may it continue expanding.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
My name is Laura Nell, and until next time, bye.